Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll start the second video of the third module of our AI engineering crash course. We'll be talking about Anthropic API. So we first give a global introduction of the course in this first module. The second module were about prompt engineering, and then the first video of the third module were about OpenAI API, where we went through every aspect of OpenAI API. Now we'll do the same for Anthropic. We went through everything you need to know to start building with Anthropic, and next time we'll do it for Google, Grok, XAI, and DeepSeek. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is to create an Anthropic folder here. We had OpenAI. I think I didn't write it at the right place, so let's do it here. Anthropic. Okay, so in there we need three files. First, the requirements.txt. We need the .env, of course, for our env variable, same as OpenAI, and we need the main.py. Okay, so first let's just get in there and create some environment. We get into Anthropic. We do Python. We did this already before, so you just -m vm, and we call it vm. And then we source vm /bin/activate. Okay, so now that we have this, we can put all our requirements here. So let me just add the list of dependencies that we have. We need the .env, and we need the Anthropic API. This is the latest version of Anthropic. So to change the version, you need to make sure that the API match what we did in the video before changing this version here. So now we can just do a pip install requirements. So while this is installing, we need a key, and we will call it Anthropic API key. I will show you how to get it in a second. And the simplest way to get it is to come to the Anthropic dashboard. You just go here to the Anthropic API. You can get it by typing Cloud API online. You click on Start Building, and you will get here. And then here you click on Get a new API key, Create, you give it a name, and then you have an API key. You copy the API key, you paste it here. You paste it. Yes, you paste it in your .env. So now we can start building. Okay, so pretty simple. We need something exactly like this because Anthropic API is really close to OpenAI API. So what we need to change is just here, Anthropic, and same, pretty much the same, Anthropic with the big A. We put it here. We don't need these two modules for the moment. And then here, as you saw it on the file, it's called Anthropic under .env. Okay. With this here, now we can start working on a client. Okay, but before that, we need I need to explain some few things to you. So let's just first start with chat completion. And for chat completion, we need something pretty similar to what we did with ChatGPT. So let me just comment it so you can see. We need an array of messages with a system prompt. I will show you how to put the system prompt in Cloud. With a model, with messages, it's pretty close. I think they got the inspiration from OpenAI because they are the first doing it. So you will see that the API are actually quite close. So let me give you a quick example here. We have messages from there. So I will show you where to put this. So this is how you do it in OpenAI. So I will just show you the difference. So here we call response is equal to client dot messages dot create, and then here we need some few parameters. The first parameter is the model, so we just put this. Then we need max token. Max token is the maximum amount of token that you get back from the model. And then we need messages. Okay, so this is different in Cloud. This is how we do it in OpenAI, but with Cloud, this, instead of being here, it's actually down there like this. System is equal to this, and you remove this part here. Okay, I think you need just a comma here, and then as we already installed our packages, all we need to do is run this file. Let's print the response, and then we do python man.py. Take some time. So we have some issues saying that not found model Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Okay, so we need a specific version of this model then. So let me just get it. Okay, so run it again. As you can see here, we get a response in some weird language, but yeah, so we get a response here. And same as with ChatGPT, we have only here the possibility, only this system prompt gives us the possibility to actually change the whole logic of our AI application. So let's say we want a, I don't know, a meme generator or some kind of joke generator. So we'll change it here. You are a joke generator, and you can generate funny jokes. Okay, I think it's funny here. And here you can just say, hey, tell me a joke about Europe. It will surely be a bad joke, but let's try it out. So here you can see that from this table here we have content, which is an array, so we can do that content, and then we have message somewhere here, right? Text, sorry. So we just do that content of 0 dot text. So we save this, we run this again. Yep. Why are Europeans such amazing storytellers? Because they have got so many tales from the dark age. What do you call a French person holding a piece of cheese? A brilliant European. Okay, don't know if that's funny, but at least you get it. You can change the system prompt here and get a completely different app, same as with ChatGPT. So now let me give you a new thing, which is system prompt caching, or just prompt caching in general. So here, let's say you have a really long app and the prompt is like burning $0.5 every single time. You have one way with Anthropic to actually avoid that. And that way is called function prompt caching, sorry. And the way you do it is quite simple. You just change the system prompt. Instead of having it as a string, you have it as an array of objects. So let me just give you an example. So put an object here called type text. So same here, like this. Okay, then you have the text itself, which is your system prompt, like joke, tell jokes. And then you have a third parameter. This third parameter is actually where you control the cache and the prompting. So you have this cache control, where you type, I think the only type existing right now is ephemeral, where you actually mention to the AI that it should keep this in the cache for a certain amount of time. I think it's 5 minutes for a moment, and then it will help you reduce your cost. And based on the finding from Anthropic, it can reduce your cost from $3 to $0.3, around nearly 90%. So it can be quite interesting if you have really long system prompt. Okay, so with that said, we can go back to our original one, because I want to show you how to do the calls with PDFs. Okay, so we get this. From here, what we need to do is to create a file as usual, and this file will be passing it and changing it into base64. And to do that, we can have here an example straight from Anthropic with the URL of the PDF here. Okay, one of the Anthropic PDFs, and then you have the transformation into base64, but we need to first import the necessary packages here, and we are using HTTPX as well, so we import it as well here. Okay, so what's happening here is that we have this URL, we pass it in base64, we did the same with Vision Model from OpenAI, and then now we can pass it to the model. So what it does is that it just transforms this file into a string that you can pass through the network. Okay, so here in the messages, what you can do is to just add a field with the role user, with the type document. Where is it? Here. Okay, and then here you will have content document, type document, and then type base64, the type and the data, which is actually the base64 encoded version of the PDF. And this is quite interesting. This is for citation. So if we remove this, we'll not get any citation. You'll see that later. And then here is the next part where you get a question, you ask a question about your document. Okay, so you can even comment this because I need it at the moment. It's not mandatory to have the system prompt here. So if we run this again, you'll see that it's taking some time. And this time it's actually figuring out how to extract key information from the document and send it back to you. And you will see the response still coming. Okay, so you can see here that the document emphasizes Anthropic commitment to responsible AI. It's actually, model card. So it's actually about Claude 3. And the document had all the information about in a Claude. So now if we add this again, okay, you will see that this will change. You will get the same response, but you have in the metadata the citations. Instead of only text, you can see also citations. So but for that we need to change our code a bit to do something like this. We just print the response so you see the whole data structure. So we'll just get the response for the moment, but yeah, after the response I will run it again so you can see it with the metadata and the citations and see how it works. So let me just, this is actually interesting. Why? Because this is first part of the text and it will be giving you chunk by chunk with the citations if it finds it. So this will surely have no citation, maybe, and then try it out again. You will see from the response. So each chunk will tell you if there's a citation to it and give you the information about the citation, so you can add it directly right after your text. So maybe this part you will not have to put a citation incurred for it, but the other part that the model will give you, you'll just put a citation incurred for it directly coming from the model. With the text also, you can highlight it in your document if you want to. So okay, while waiting, let's see what we'll be doing next. The next topic we'll be talking about is actually, okay, maybe in the meantime, yes, we get the response here. Here, so you can see that we have much more here than what we got at the beginning, right? This was pretty simple, one single element, but with citation none, you can see it from here already. But if you come here, you'll see that some sections have no citation, which has no citation. Some sections have no citation, which is pretty normal. But now, if you go a bit down, you will see somewhere, just search for it, citation, none. But here we have a citation, and the cited text is right here. So you can take it and highlight it in the PDF, search and highlight in the PDF with the text alongside it. Okay, same when you don't get a citation, you get none, and when you get a citation, you get this. Okay, so yeah, so that's good about citations and text compilations and changing use cases. And as I mentioned, use cases all only here in the system prompt. So now I wanted to introduce some things to you, some things from Anthropic, especially concerning the prompting techniques that they have. So if you go to your documentation, so let me just go to the documentation and show it to you. I think here, developer docs, you will see that you can search here for prompt, and you will see different things here. A prompt generator. This prompt generator is actually Google Colab. You can see it somewhere here that you can run with a meta prompt as well, exactly as on ChatGPT. We did that already with the meta prompt, and the meta prompt will be generating prompt. But here it's actually based on the task. It's not improving the prompt, it's generating it. So you have something here with the task instruction here. I will tell you why you're using XML. It's actually mentioned in there, and you will replace this task with the task that you have, so that you will mention. And you will see down there, this is a really long meta meta prompt that we are replacing. What is it? We have a task here, we have an email responding to something, and then somewhere here we're replacing the task, right? In the meta prompt. And then yeah, we're getting a better prompt out of this. So this is you can use this to generate better prompts for Anthropic especially. And you can see somewhere here that they are talking about using XML tags. So according to them, it helped the model give increase its accuracy when you use XML tags. So instead of just maybe throwing like roll 2 dots and then you start writing, you can just wrap it into some XML like this, like instruction, example, formatting. Same for the chain of thought. We'll come to it later. And it will help the model actually give you better understand the structure of your prompt. Same for the response. You can ask the model to generate some part of the code in some XML. It can be maybe, you know, text compilation, like in bold.new, for example, you have two different sections. You have the code section and the explanation section, and you can parse that and display it in 2 different windows, or actually write the code in a file and display the text in the chat box, right? So this is quite interesting. And yeah, apart from that, we also have the chain of thought here. And the chain of thought, as you mentioned somewhere here, you need to use some XML with thinking here. Okay, use XML like thinking and answer. I think we talk about chain of thought. If you didn't watch it, I'll put the link to the playlist in the description, and you will see it in the prompting guide. Yes, so basically you can implement it here. Same for the prompt improver. It's just a way to improve your prompts if you already have a prompt. And then we have some simple security things here based on your prompts, like avoiding being prompt injections and avoiding leaking your prompts. I think it should be somewhere here. Oh, and they have some example of multi-shot prompting as well. So the prompting guide from Anthropic is actually quite complete, I would say. So in the meantime, let me just look for it somewhere here. Should be. Let me search for it. Jailbreaking. Okay, here we go. You can mitigate jailbreaks and prompting injection. So this is some security concern, and we'll talk about it in depth in the upcoming sections of the course. But in general, you can read this to have a bit more of a view and how to reduce your prompt being leaked. But here they are saying you need to do it when it's really, really necessary, right? Because what you're implementing here can increase the complexity of your prompts, or yeah, what you're doing. But in any case, yeah, the results are actually quite good here. Same for reducing hallucinations. You can just say to the model things like, I don't know. Yeah, but in any case, you have the resources here. You have the prompting module to understand a bit more about prompting techniques. Yeah, and then from that, we need to move to the next module of this course, the next part of this tutorial. Let me go back to my code. And this next part is actually function calling. So we saw with ChatGPT or OpenAI, sorry, we saw with the OpenAI API that if you need to do a complete system that call external resources, you need function calling, because what the model is giving to you is actually only compilations. If you ask for something, you get the text back. But if you want to know, how do I get the weather? How do I play a song on Spotify? How do I do specific things? You need function calling. And function calling is actually part of the Anthropic. It's supported by Anthropic actually. So I will show you how it works. And it's called tool use. So what we do is actually pretty close to what we had with ChatGPT. I think we can get the same example actually, if we still have it. I think we had a tool here, okay, tools, and we add it at the top here like this, okay. We just, okay, uncomment this. Yes, so what we need to change, we just need to change some few things. We can give a name to our function. So instead of having type and functions here, we delete this like this and straight through. should be fine. Okay, we have a name, we have a description, we have the insert of parameter, we call it input schema. Okay, we have a type object, the properties, and the properties is actually what we are giving to the model. So here we have a tool, we have a type, string, we have a description, same. And if we have some required parameter, we can actually give them to an array here called required. It's actually pretty much the same thing. Yes, so with that, you will get the response with the tool calling actually. So let me just remove our message here and come back to a base message with the content being just hi or something like that. I think from ChatGPT we had a really interesting prompt. Let me just close this. Send a mail to contact@ulive.ai to ask for a voice AI assistant service. Okay, so this will actually trigger a text that will give us this send email and the parameter that are extracted from this text here. So let's try it out. I think we're prompting message to response. Great. And I forgot to add it to the, I need to add tools here. Okay, and then it got it. We don't have any document anymore. Yes, okay, so we can delete the document part. Yes, okay, so we try it out. So see here, I'll help you send an email, but if you see tool use block, you'll see that you have an input, the subject, the parameter that you needed, and you will find the name of the function that's supposed to be called here. And you can just pass it the same way we did with OpenAI. Let me show you if I still have it here. If response gets the function with name send email, we call the send email function with the parameters. So it's actually quite the same thing. It's pretty close. So when you know exactly how OpenAI, I forgot to mention that this is pretty important. When you know how the OpenAI API works, you can work with almost every provider except Google because they want to do the things their ways. But almost all these providers are pretty close, and a lot of them actually support the format of OpenAI. We'll talk about it when we talk about Grok, DeepSeek, and XAI. So far, this is how you do function calling in Anthropic. And so our next topic will be a bit more general things like embeddings, NPC, computer use, and more, which are API that you can use. But you can see here something about embeddings. Same, they have 3 models as OpenAI. Oh no, more models here, six models, I think 5 to 6 models that you can use for your embedding with the embedding dimension here. Same process. Instead of just saying how is it called, model.create something, I think they have a, let me see, a Voyage API here. Where is it? Where you need a Voyage API key, you get it, you install the package, you embed the model, and it will directly embed into your Voyage AI platform. So what you can do is just pass the model here. As you can see, you have a list of models here, Voyage 3, Voyage Lite, and it will give you back the embeddings, as you can see here, which is actually just an array representing the text. Okay, so same here for some add-ons. This is just manual add-on that you can use in same here for some NPC. So this is used to add tool support to Claude, so Claude can call these tools. So if you want to learn more about it, there's a complete website here. You can implement them with Python. You have pretty great tutorial about it online. But yeah, I think it's not part of this course. Same for computer use. I think we talk about prompt caching, PDF support. This is actually pretty simple. I think we need to talk about moderation as well. So moderation here in OpenAI, we saw that you can do moderation with their model, a specific model that they built for it. But here you need a prompt, and the prompt is actually here. Where is it again? Here, okay? You can see it here. Prompt determine this, and respond with this. So you need to build it yourself. So there's no specific model that can do that. But in this case, we are lucky enough, you get a really small model and it can do this classification for you because it's a pretty basic task, right? So you don't need to spend a lot of money on a big model. You can do it on the lower cost model here. So if you want to do moderation with Anthropic, here you go. You have the link here. You just read through it, you copy the prompt, same. We can directly do it even now, copying this prompt, pasting it into our prompt part, and then running it with some examples. Okay, so with that said, I think we basically did everything we needed to do for Anthropic. And also, this is where you actually get real curl call when you have a new language instead of Python or JavaScript. And if you're working with JavaScript, you also get the documentation for JavaScript here. You can directly use this and format your call in your programming language with this call process here. So when you just get the URL, the API key, the version, the content type, you can directly set it up in any language using just HTTP packages, okay? And yeah, you have the API documentation here with an example and an explanation of why you need each parameter, okay? So here, for example, you have messages, you have assistant and user, you have everything you need to build this fully functional system with Anthropic, any fully functional system with Anthropic. Yeah, so with that said, I think we went through everything we need to do for Anthropic. If you need more information, I'll put the link to the documentation in the comment below. In the next part, we'll talk about Google and then other providers and then frameworks. So if you don't want to miss that, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.